And so when you actually got to your first day of directing after you'd finished all the prep and it was day one of your episode, what was the kind of majority feeling that you were feeling? Was there something that you were most excited? Were you nervous? What was kind of going through your mind?
Definitely a mixture of all of that. Like I was quite nervous. It was a big day. My first day was I had 150 background artists, which is a lot by any standard. A lot of moving parts. It was a very complicated, we had a drone sequence with the frisbee, and it was on paper it sounded simple, but in practice it was tricky. Um, but really fun. I mean, I really enjoyed working, you know, I like to feel like more of a crew member anyway, especially on a job that goes this long. It's like you are just one of the crew. By this point, you're not, there's not like, it's not like cast and crew. So it was great to just be properly like in the trenches with them, doing all the same hours and like it was just great. And very lucky, we were very lucky to have such a brilliant, very hardworking crew. And they just really, they were incredibly supportive and they really um got behind me. And yeah, it was very nerve-wracking, but they were so kind. And I just knew, to be honest, if I'd fallen over and got a head injury, the first AD could have done it without me there, if I'm completely honest. These crew are so experienced, they know what they're doing. They could knock out an episode without a director, to be quite frank. So props to them, really. And it's just an honor to be the one who the buck stops with, and whose decisions are final. It was quite an honor.
Well, I actually did want to speak to you about that opening sequence and the drone because it's a beautiful way to enter into this episode. What kind of led to the decision of having that be the way we enter into the story? And can you speak a little bit to directing a drone?
So that was in the script. That was how Katie Varney had imagined it. She had this, it was literally on the paper, like drone shot coming down into, and I immediately, it was very, the way she'd written it was very clear. I totally saw how what it would look like once we found the location with the tree lined sort of path through the middle of the university. It was kind of on, and we had this amazing, I mean, the drone guys are like so cool. Like there's one guy sitting there and he's got his VR mask on, and that's how he comes to set and he has a little chair and he sits on his little chair and he puts his thing, and then there's like a team of them, but this is the one guy and he's like the drone guy, and he's kind of on a computer game kind of like, and it's just, it was really tricky to get that shot because there had to be the right pace. I didn't want to see too many ugly buildings. It was like I wanted it, but and it had to be smooth, and it had to like not hit anyone. And there was like a safety issue as well because it's going very fast, and it is, it could do damage. So yeah, a lot of moving. Plus getting making sure there are enough students, in peopling the sort of world. Like I've got to believe that this is like busy campus. It was a challenge, but it was so fun, and I'm really pleased with how it came out.
Yeah. When we spoke about your directing several months ago, you mentioned that Katie was one of your favorite writers. You're so excited to work with her on this. What was the collaboration process like beyond, the actual script? Did you kind of talk about things? Was she on set with you? What can you kind of speak to about that partnership?
So she was in LA, but she was always available. We were in contact constantly with these, as I'm sure you know, they're episodic. It's just like you just film so quickly and things do change. And like based on a look, we lost a look for a minute, we lost a location. So it was like, oh, we'll do a bit of a rewrite. And but she is wonderfully collaborative and really just so intelligent and very good at problem solving, and was really open to like, some questions that I had about just minor sort of edits that I thought would be helpful, like on the day, just in terms of like making the day, or in terms of like we moved the location of one scene from, it was on location to the stage, because I was like, if we don't have it on stage, we won't get it. And so she, you know, she was great with that. And then with the motorcycle chase sequence, that was just a very basic outline in the original script, and then we sort of developed it, and I found the location, and then sort of worked backwards, sort of reverse engineered it, and sort of, it was a bit of ad-libbing as well. We've improvised a lot, like, as we went. But yeah, it was really, really enjoyable experience.